Guys, let's do a quick test 7 now. So we need to, in this question, we know W is 5t minus 3 times 2 minus t. Before we get any further, we can actually simplify this by multiplying out the brackets. So we end up with 5t, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6, and negative 3 times negative t is negative times negative, which is positive 3t. And we can combine the 5t plus 3t to give you 8t minus 6. Now, let's see what we do. Calculate w when t is 0, so then 8 times 0 is 0, minus 6 is simply negative 6. Calculate the value of t for which w is 26. So we know w is 8t minus 6, and we're told that w is 26. So we can add 6 onto both sides, which will give you 32 is 8t, and you divide both sides by 8, and you get t equals 4. Express t in terms of w. So we're taking this equation now, and we're moving everything from the right to the left so we can isolate t. So first we will have 8t is w plus 6, and then we need to divide by 8. So we get t equals all of the right-hand side divided by 8, because this is a multiply. So w plus 6 over 8. And finally, find the value of t for which w equals t. So again, we'll start with this equation. And we're told w equals t. So therefore, t is 8t minus 6. Add 6 to both sides and minus t. And you will end up with 6 is 8t minus t, which is 7t. And divide by the coefficient of t, which is 7, to give you 6 over 7. And that's an A grade question. Next, factorize. So we want common here. Now that's an n, so that's an m, so there's no letter in common. Does any number go into 5 and 55? Absolutely, the number 5. So that is factorized out. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so 1n. 55 divided by 5 is 11, so that's 11m. Solve the simultaneous equation. X plus y is 11, and 3x plus 2y is 28. So 3x plus 2y equals 28. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this equation and times it by 2. And the reason we're going to times it by 2 equals 22 is so when we subtract these equations, the numbers of y's here are the same. So 2y take away 2y is 0. This takes us straight to an answer of 3x minus 2x is x, and 28 minus 22 is 6. So we know x equals 6, and x plus y is 11, so therefore y equals 5. And we can check this by working out this. 3 times 6 is 18. 2 times y is 10. And we check 18 plus 10, is it 28? Absolutely. Write down 85600 times 11 in standard form. So first thing you want to do is multiply it out. So do 85600 times 11, and we get 94160. Now to write it in standard form, we need a single digit in front of the decimal point. Write the rest of the non-zero digits, and we need to multiply by some power of 10. How many digits after the first digit? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will be 10 to the 5. The measurement of a length is written as 6.5 meters, correct to 1 decimal place. So if we have 6.5, that means the next measurable value will be 6.6. And the previous measurable value will be 6.4. Now, to find the largest possible value, you need to find the halfway point, and the smallest possible value will be the halfway point here. So halfway between 6.5 and 6.6 will be 6.55. If you ever get confused by complicated numbers here, just remember, add these two numbers on your calculator and divide by 2, and it will tell you exactly what the midway point is. Solve the inequality 3x minus 2 is less than 4. So an inequality acts just like an equation. The only difference is whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must switch sides. But here we're just going to add 2 to both sides. So we end up with 3x is less than 4 plus 2, which is 6. And then we're dividing by 3, and since the 3 is positive, that means the symbol does not change. 6 over 3 is 2, and that is our solved inequality. X is less than 2. Remember to write these numbers on a number line. You would find the number 2. You would draw a hollow circle because it's not equal, and you would point an arrow downwards because it's less than. If it was an equals, then you would fill in the circle. Two triangles are similar. That means the ratio of their sides is the same. Write down the length of x. So we're trying to find x. What side is the equivalent to x? Well, that's going to be the 3. And then if we look at the larger side, so we have a 12 is going to be equivalent to 4. So we can simplify that. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So x over 3 equals 3. And then if you multiply by 3, because that's a divide, you get x equals 9. And you can see that to go from the small shape to the large shape, all we're doing is multiplying every length by 3. Also notice that if you were multiplying the areas, you would multiply by the square of 3. So you'd be multiplying 9. So the area of the larger shape is 9 times the area of the smaller shape. Given that x equals 8, simplify root x. So root 8. So which square number goes into 8? So we know our square numbers, and we have 2 times 4. And we can split that into root 2 times root 4. And the square root of 4 is 2, so we can simply write that as 2 root 2. Now we have the negative, so that is the 1 over root 8. But root 8 we know is 2 root 2. Now generally, when we're dealing with surds like this, we do not want surds on the denominator. And we can multiply top and bottom by the surd to simplify that out. So if we multiply top and bottom by the root 2, the surd, our numerator becomes 1 times root 2, which is root 2. And our denominator becomes root 2 times root 2, which is 2. 2 times 2, which is 4. That's why it's an A-star question. It's knowing that you can't leave it in this form. Okay. That's a bit messy, that. So here we are solving the equation. So we look at common factors, and both terms have an x in. So we can take x out, and we're left with 8 plus x equals 0. If two things multiply to give 0, one of them must be 0. So either x is 0, or the value of x that would make the bracket 0 is x is negative 8, because negative 8 plus 8 is 0. Moving on to question 10. Calculate 3 to the minus 2. So 3 to the minus 2 is 1 over 3 to the 2. And 3 to the 2 is 3 squared, which is 9. So it's just 1 over 9. Writing that as a decimal is 0.1 recurring. You must have the recurring symbol. Okay. So this one looks like it's easy. We just want to type it in a calculator, but we're not gonna. We're gonna use the fact that this is the difference of two squares. And the difference of two squares states x squared minus y squared is x plus y times x minus y. And what you'll note with these two numbers is if you add them together, you get 100. And if you subtract them, well, 73 minus 20 is 53, so that's going to be 46. So 46 times 100 is 4600. What's the lowest common multiple of 18 and 20? So 18 is 2 times 3 squared, and 20 is 2 squared times 5. And to find the LCM, we write down every different base, so 2, 3, and 5, and we write the highest power. So the highest power of 2 here we have is 2. The highest power of 3 is also 2. Okay. So it's going to be 180 if you calculate that out. The interior angles of a regular hexagon. So hexagon is 6-sided shape. So you have to subtract 2 from the number of sides and multiply by 180. So that's going to be 720 degrees. So you remember it's n minus 2 times 180 to get the sum of the interior angles. Calculate the area of the triangle is half times base times height. Now by Pythagoras, we know that since we have the hypotenuse, it's going to be 13 squared minus 5 squared is x squared, which if you calculate and square root, you will get x equals 12. So the area is half times base times height. So it's a half times 5 times 12, so that will be 30. We don't know the units, so we're just going to write units squared. Number 15, nth term. Right, how much are we going up by? So it's each time it's plus 3, so it will be 3n. So now we do a check. So let's say the third term is 8. 3 times 3, which because it's the third term, 3 times 3 is 9. How to get to 8? We must subtract 1. So 3 times 4 should be 11. 3 times 4 is 12, minus 1 is 11, so that checks out. Find the difference between the median and mean of this set of numbers. So they're already in order, so the median is halfway between the middle two. So the median is 9, and the mean is the sum of all these numbers divided by 4. So that's going to be 36 divided by 4, which is also 9. What's the difference between these values? 9 minus 9? 0. So functions, f of x is 3x and g of x is x plus 2. Find g f of 2. Remember, we're working backwards with functions. So you take 2 and you put it in f. So that becomes 3 times 2, which is 6. And then you put that answer in g. 6 plus 6 is 12. Now, if you do this one, we're going to put 4 into g. So 4 plus 6 is 10. And then we're going to put that answer in f. 3 times 10 is 30. Shape A is enlarged by a scale factor 3. The area of the enlarged shape is 45. So remember we talked about scale factor. Because the scale factor is 3, the area factor is 3 squared, which is 9. So we're going to have a shape multiplied by 9 gives us a larger shape. And we know that the larger shape is 45. So the question is, what's the smaller shape? So we simply divide by 9 and we get 5 square units. Remember to keep the same units. Shakira, George, and Rosie share 60 pounds in the ratio 3-4-5. So George is the middle name, so he got the middle amount. So what fraction did George get? He got 4 out of 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is 12. So which is a third of the total amount. So a third of 60, 20 pounds. EasyJet increased the price of a single ticket to Jersey from £68 to 71.4. What was the percentage increase? So to find the percentage increase, you need to find the increase divided by the original times by 100. So the increase is 71.4 minus 68 over the original, which is 68, and then times by 100. So pop to your calculator, and we do 71.4 minus 68, then press equals, and then divide by 68, and times 100, and you should get exactly a 5% increase. Don't forget to use the percentage symbol. And that takes us to the end of the assessment.